guys, BigDebuffs here. Today we're on the 11.2 Ghost of Crash PTR, and we're going to be checking out some of those new development notes that came out yesterday, July 8th. We have some changes regarding Holy Paladin tier bonus, and we also have a change towards Mistweaver, which we will cover at the end of the video. So for Holy Paladin, all these changes affect your Lightsmith tier bonus. We have two changes that are affected towards Lightsmith itself, so whether you're Pro or a Holy, you're both going to get affected. Then we have one directed specifically for Holy. Obviously, we're a PvP channel, so we're going to be looking at this with the eyes of a PvPer and seeing, is this good, is this bad, is this reliable? We have our first change here. They're on the screen just in case you want to see them for yourself. The Manaforge Omega 2 bonus. When Hammer Anvil is activated by Crusader Strike, it will instead be cast at 75% effectiveness, was 100%. So, wow, I'm not even looking at it on my screen. So, it's obviously very bad, this tier bonus. This tier bonus is really sketchy. I mean, Hammer Anvil is something that I am not a huge fan of when it comes to Lightsmith. I just feel like it just doesn't do any healing. It's had continuous problems throughout the seasons. Season 1, it just didn't do good healing. They buffed it, and then it started to do good healing. I made a video on it. And then Season 2 came around. They buffed it, I believe, twice, and it just didn't do anything. It was still really low on, in my breakdown. But the reason why I'm just not super thrilled about this skill, especially to put a cherry on top, my tier bonus revolving around this skill, is that, one, the proc chance is really bad. I'd say it's really bad, not to be very confident in saying that, but I've been on the PTR for a while, and I've been getting some pretty decent procs. I've been getting some back-to-back procs, so maybe they secretly buffed it, not too sure. But from my long time playing, the entirety of the War Within, historically, it's had a really bad proc, so that's an issue I have with it. On top of it, procking only on Judgment critical strikes, yeah. I mean, how many Judgments are you actually critting in a game? But on top of that, we also have the at-target location effect. So if no one's near the target that I proc my Hammer and Anvil on, then, well, I guess no one's getting healing. I believe the radius is 20 yards. That's the last confirmation I've seen on a blue post. On a development note. Don't know if they secretly changed it or not to be 40 yards or 30 yards, I'm not too sure, but the last thing I remember is that it was made to be 20 yards instead of like the 10 yards it was initially. So, yeah, there's a lot of things I don't like about Hammer and Anvil, but obviously it's not in the eyes of PvP, because if this was designed for PvP, Hammer and Anvil would be the last thing a tier set would revolve around for Holy Paladin in PvP combat. It's obviously directed towards PvE, because, melee wings and fist weaver work as intended in PvE, in the PvE world. You can actually get in there and actually do damage and play the spec properly, rather than me being a Lightsmith and only using Avenging Crusader for the 1 minute cooldown rather than the actual effect, because I want to get a sick weapon out there. Yeah, it doesn't work as intended for PvP. So on top of the tier set just itself being pretty wonky, it's just getting nerfed by 35%. So that's just a big healing loss. We'll see if I can get a proc here of my Hammer and Anvil. Well, nice proc. So you hit there for 1 million. See if I can get a proc on my Crusader Strike. So we saw there on my Crusader Strike, it now healed for 272. I mean, going from 1 million to 272, that's near like 800,000 healing loss. Very scary. Now, you saw there, I kind of got like, they procced pretty close to each other, so maybe they buffed the proc chance secretly. If they did, I would assume that probably have some influence on the reason why they nerfed the actual healing of it, to kind of offset it proccing a lot with the effectiveness of the Hammer and Anvil. Not entirely too sure, but yeah, it's just very, very sad, because in PvP, it was already bad to begin with. Now it's just going to be even worse, so a little bit unfortunate. The next effect, Manaforge Omega 4 set bonus. If a stack of masterwork is gained while at maximum stacks, a lesser armament will be cast on a nearby ally. I'm not even going to try and build that up, because that's just not... Can it work? Yeah, but is it reliable? No, because the way to proc my lesser armaments is to actually hard cast my actual holy armaments, or to cast my Adventure Crusader. Other than that, it will not proc. So unless I magically get 5 stacks of Masterwork in the time where my Adventure Crusader and both my Holy Armaments are on cooldown, then yeah, cool. But that's just not realistic. So I don't need to test that here. But it does work. If I do have 5 stacks of Masterwork and I happen to get another one, yeah, it'll proc the lesser armaments on my allies. Now going over our final change, our Mana Forge Omega 4 set bonus, lesser weapon should now prioritize healers when possible. So if you don't know how the lesser weapon works, your next 5 attacks will deal extra holy damage or extra healing. So pretty cool. The prioritization of it is really nice to see because you can't actually control who gets your lesser armaments. I can control who gets my Holy Bulwark and my Sacred Weapon, because I can just target them and just cast it on them. But my lesser weapons, I mean, they're flying all over the place. It's awkward because they can also fly onto pets, a hunter's pets or a DK's pets. Yeah, it can be very awkward. So prio onto healers, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, healers will be able to do a bit of extra damage, a little bit of extra healing. And from what I'm seeing on the combat log, those sacred weapons actually do some pretty decent healing and damage. I mean, bro, one of them was hitting for like 1 million. It's kind of crazy. So let's see if I can actually... Oh, this guy's actually a healer. Maybe it'll proc on him, but we're not in a party, so I don't really know. So let's see if this lesser weapon actually goes to this healer here. It actually did. Okay. Overall, the nerf is definitely very big. I mean, the 2 set was already sketchy as it was, and now it's being nerfed. I'm surprised there's not actually a PvP modifier to keep it at 100% in PvP combat. So very scared about that. The second change of, you know, proccing a lesser armament at max stacks, like I said, I just don't think that's reliable. So it was just kind of there. It's just there to be there. That's literally the change that is. It's just there to be there. And then the prio of healers, I think it's pretty cool. Just gives us a little bit of extra, like, hey, I know this person's going to get my lesser weapon. It gives us that bit of confirmation. And now for the greatest change of all, Mistweaver Monk, or I guess this affects all monks. Mystic Touch now increases physical damage taken by 8%, was 5%. I don't believe Mystic Touch has ever gotten changed. Ever. I could be mistaken, and just my brain just doesn't work as it used to. But that's pretty cool. If you see here, Mystic Touch, it is real. Mystic Touch now increases the damage they take by 8%. Pretty cool. You see the developer's note there on the screen. They're doing this because just the amount of classes that actually deal just pure physical damage is non-existent. I mean, every class does some form of magic damage. I believe, like, probably Asa Rogue is like one of the only classes that does pure physical damage, you know, alongside bleeds and then, you know, some poison effects. But yeah, mostly physical. So I mean, how even warriors do magic damage, you know? So it's kind of crazy. So 30% physical damage buff. I mean, hey, I know when I'm on Mistweaver and my physical deeps are around. Like, yeah, I love Mystic Touch, man. What the hell was that? That looked awesome. I apply Mystic Touch here, and boom, this guy has 8% physical damage, increase taken. Pretty awesome. My Rising Sun Cake will just own that guy now. Really cool. I'm also pretty happy about that change. That's just cool. I think the coolest part about Mystic Touch is that it actually procs on skills that don't do physical damage, like Crackling Jade Lightning, so I don't have to get in there and be like, yeah, I target spawn him and then get the proc. No, I just Crackling Jade Lightning him. I think it's a cool change. So guys, hope you all enjoyed the video, and of course if you did, leave a like button down below. Chuck and subscribe my way. And of course, if you really did like the video, you can always click the link in the description to see all of my Holy Paladin content.